What should you be stockpiling now? Hey everybody, this is Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. Good question. How should we approach our food storage, our prepping, in the most logical manner possible? We got to think about these things. We got to be proactive, not reactive as preppers, because prepping is important to us. Feeding our families is important. We have the preparedness mindset. We understand that prepping is living insurance. So how best to go about doing that? There's a lot of different things to think about, a lot of different ways to approach it. The one that I feel that makes most sense right now is take the approach of stockpiling items that are most affected by big ag, by big agriculture. Because big ag will be affected more in times of hardship, in big crunches, because they're the ones that rely on all the big stuff. They're the ones that rely on commercial grade fertilizers. They're the ones that rely on a lot of diesel shortages to operate their tractors, to process the foods, to ship it, all these things. Smaller scale agriculture, or things that come from closer to you, won't be as affected as much. Local farms, stuff like that, of course, won't be affected as quickly as big agriculture. Also items, that maybe have to be shipped a long distance. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen any banana trees here in Western Washington. However, apple trees are everywhere. So maybe look at prepping some of those things, adding those things to your preps that don't grow in your local area or in your environment at all. Before I go any further, if you guys could please subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And that little notification bell, click all. So then maybe you might actually see when my videos are getting posted up, if they're not playing their stupid games like they are right now. Also, that little thumbs up really helps out. The commenting, sharing the videos, this all helps the visibility of the videos, because they're playing their games, they always do, and it's hard to get the word out to people that need to see it. We want to get more people into preparedness, right? I mean, hopefully you do, I do, because the more people that are into preparedness and have at least a basic level of preparedness, the fewer people will be trying to take what you have and what I have, because they will be able to feed their family, or they'll be able to at least last a little bit longer, maybe through a shorter crisis or something like that. Maybe last long enough to be able to hook up or gather with a larger group of people that is more prepared. So this is very important. Getting the word out, teaching others about preparedness. This is why I do this. This is why I'm here. I want to empower you guys. I want you guys to get out there and empower others also. This isn't just about me talking to you and telling you everything you need to know on YouTube here. I don't tell you everything you need to know. I tell you what I feel is necessary to empower you to get out and do things yourself. You have to get up. You have to go do. Speaking of the items that don't come from your locale, depending on what they are, how much emphasis should be placed on them. Like, mangoes don't grow here, bananas don't grow here. But does that mean I need to go stockpile a bunch of bananas and mangoes just because? No. If we eat them as a big part of our diet, then maybe. My family loves bananas. So should I stockpile a bunch of bananas? Well, they go bad really quick, right? So what can you do? You can dehydrate them. You can freeze dry them. Dehydrating, it extends the life quite a bit, but it's still shelf life. Freeze drying, however, is awesome, but those are expensive. So, and I haven't seen canned bananas. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen canned bananas. Mangoes and other things like that, yes, I have. But the big things also, like corn, wheat, rice, beans. I said beans last, actually on purpose this time, because beans are fairly easy to grow your own in the majority, I would say, probably the majority of the United States, maybe, and majority of countries. Beans are not that difficult to grow. It doesn't take like rice. It doesn't take a big, huge rice, paddy, rice field, and all the water and all that stuff like that that's required to grow rice. Corn also is a little more difficult to grow. You need a little more sun, a little more heat, stuff like that. I had some decent luck last year growing some corn, but for the amount of raised bed that I had to use for the corn, my biggest raised bed was just full of corn. The amount of food I got wasn't really worth it. I can grow crops that are much more effective caloric value-wise and nutritional value-wise than corn. So I can't grow corn. I could, but I'll put that in the category of can't grow corn, can't grow rice. I don't have hundreds of acres to grow wheat, so put that in that category also. I can't grow wheat. Wheat lasts forever, pretty much, like hard red wheat. So we buy hard red wheat by the buckets. Think about these things. Like I said, I don't have all the answers. Never do, never claim to. But look at what you eat, what your family eats, and try to prepare those things. Wheat and flour is a big part of a lot of things. Breads, pastries, tortillas, pastas. It's a big part of a lot of people's diets, right? So wheat is very important. Luckily, things like hard red wheat last a long time, especially when properly stored in buckets. But along with that, make sure you have a way to grind it. You don't have to have a way to grind it, but if you have a manual grinder, that's a really good thing because it's going to work no matter if you have grid up or grid down. Also, you can sprout wheat. You can soak it. You can also just cook it like wheat berries and have, it's kind of like a grits oatmeal type meal, but like wheat berries. That's old school. Maybe some of you grew up in an environment where that was part of your diet. Your family did that. I remember that as a kid, my grandma doing that. But yes, you can also sprout wheat, which exponentially increases its nutritional value. So that's a really good thing, and it's an easy thing to do. So don't think just because you don't have a grinder, you shouldn't store wheat, because it's very useful in other ways. And you could figure out a way to grind wheat, I'm sure. It may be more difficult, it may be more time consuming, but you could figure it out. You're smart, we're all smart people, we can figure it out. But a manual grinder would be beneficial. It's one of those things. If you stockpile a lot of corn, and corn is going to be a large part of your diet, check out nixtamalization. You got to nixtamalize your corn before you consume it if it is a very large part of your diet. We have recently started stockpiling more 40-pound bags of whole kernel corn. It will probably never be a large part of our diet, so that's one of those skills. And I have never actually nixtamalized corn myself, but I wrote it on my prepper notebook. I wrote it on several different places, so I know how to do it. I've watched videos about it. I've read about it. I understand the process, so that's important. So if I ever have to, I could do it. That's part of the knowledge. Knowledge is very important as preppers. It's not just stuff. Stuff is important, and we should be getting the stuff that we need now. So to answer the title of what should you be getting now, or get these before you can't, I don't know what I'm going to name it, what I'm going to title it. But items that you can't grow yourself, items that don't grow in your area, and or big agriculture items. Soybeans are one of those. Soybeans are not part of my diet because I don't like soy. I don't like it's very, very GMO'd, and soy is just, there's a lot of stuff that goes along with soy. I don't like soy. If I want protein, I want meat. And that's another thing, meat shortages. And all these different ailments going around with animals. Yeah. Like, this isn't all orchestrated or not. Make sure you're stockpiling your meats. Canned meats, freeze-dried meats, maybe dehydrated meats in the form of jerky. Although that doesn't have that's not a forever shelf life. There's also pickled meats, salted meats. There's a lot of different ways. Make sure you're stockpiling your meats. That's going to be important, especially as the push for a meatless society gets worse and worse and worse, and they're trying to get us to eat that whatever stuff it is, the impossible burgers and crap. That's disgusting. Man, and then the lab-grown meat, oh God, looking at that, that's disgusting. That's like where they put all these cells together and they basically grow meat. But then they have to hit it with those, like physical therapy. They hit those electrodes up to exercise your muscles, because you atrophied over time, to build your muscles back up. They got to hook that stuff to these electrodes and go and shock it, because meat is a muscle, to get it to have any kind of form. Because if they don't do that, it'll just be like all over the place. And so they do that so it has some form to it. It's nasty. It's disgusting. It's not the way God intended it. But anyway, I love you guys. I hope you guys are doing the things. I hope that you are getting what you need. And I hope that you're also getting out in this stuff and learning that food is everywhere. Don't sweat it. Learn. You know better, you do better. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. And blessings to you and yours.